This is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm your host, Max Rabin.
And I'm Brent Jackson.
So, Brent, I didn't see you at the company picnic last night.
I was not there. So my wife had a firm happy hour.
Okay.
So and it's a nightmare. So I had to pick up my son from College Park, Maryland at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it was a nightmare getting up there. I left at 3, got there at 4, came back because she went to her happy hour. I had to pick up a little girl. Then we went down to, it's called the district court for basketball practice. It's way down right outside the Beltway. So it took me an hour to get there. We stopped and had dinner at Jimmy John's. He had practice from 6 to 8. And then when I got home, I went straight to bed.
So, yeah.
Put him in the bed. So I was unable to go to the company picnic.
Well, it was fun, once again.
I heard it was amazing. I saw photos.
Yeah. Our company does a really nice job with those kinds of things. Well, today our guest is not from our company, switching it up a little bit. Today our guest is Daryl Judy with Washington Fine Properties. Daryl is a former teacher. I didn't know that until we were doing your bio stuff. You've been in the business a long time. We're going to talk about how long and all of your secrets to success, the great things you're doing. You're an extreme top producer. I was just like reviewing your numbers in HomeSnap. I was like, good God, big stuff, right?
He's crushing it.
It's just crazy. I mean, and I was also noticing like on your listing sides, like your time of sale, like your average time of sale at those price points is also pretty sharp. So kudos, man.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So one thing I want to point out is I love doing the podcast because we get some of our top competitors on the show. And Daryl Judy is the cream of the crop for us because
you're in a lot of direct competition.
We're in direct competition. Yeah. So it's like a couple of times a month we're going up against Daryl Judy. And I'm always totally cool if he gets it. Class act, does a great book of business. So if a seller comes back to us and says, hey, we're going to Daryl Judy, I'm like, that's cool. He's one of the best in the business. So we don't mind losing to Daryl Judy.
Thanks.
And that's why we
not every time,
safe for you to be on the show.
Otherwise, thank you. I like a safe space.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So let's just start off with that. So why don't you take us from the beginning? So when you got started in real estate, where are you from? Go ahead and speak. Let us know.
Okay. So I actually grew up not too far away in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I was raised in the country, right? And ended up working on a dairy farm and really kind of very rural. I went to Penn State. And
Nittany Lion.
I'm a Nittany Lion. We are, exactly. And I started out teaching. So I taught elementary school. And I started out in Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, which is 2 hours south. Taught there a while. And then I'm like, oh my God, I want to move to DC. So why? Quite honestly, it was because I had come out as being gay. And I couldn't live and teach in Camp Hill. It was not safe. It was not conducive. It was terrifying. And I was very concerned for my safety and also for my career. So quite honestly. And then I came down with friends one time to a gay pride. I'm like, what's a gay pride? And then all of a sudden I met all these people who were like lawyers and doctors and think tank and smart and educated and had houses and were amazing. And I was like, oh my God, this could be my life. So quite honestly, that's the move to DC.
Wow.
Yeah. So I came down here and I taught here for a while, but it was a different situation in a rural, in a urban area, a little different, and also it's some distance there. And so I taught for a couple more years here. Couldn't survive eating or living in my friend's basement, so I had a lot of friends who were in pharmaceutical sales, and so I said, "Let me do that. I can do that. If they can do it, I can do it." And so I ended up getting a really great job with a biotech company. And I did biotechnology sales and marketing for 10 years.
You did that for 10 years?
10 years.
I didn't know you were in pharmaceuticals because I was in pharmaceuticals for off and on for about 5 years because we moved from West Virginia. I did it for a year, New York for a year, and then DC for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I was lucky because I had a specialty, so it's kind of interesting. It wasn't like the normal pharmaceutical gig. And I had great companies. I was doing sales and doing really well. I went through 3 companies with Wyeth Ayers at the time, which is now Pfizer. Sanofi Synthelo, which is now Sanofi Aventis, which is the biggest. And then I ended up at Genentech in San Francisco. And that's the cream of the crop. If you ever want to work for a company, that's the company to work for. And they were great to me, and I loved the people there. I just didn't like corporate America.
Right.
And I wanted to have control of, if I sell more, I make more. If I work harder, I can do better. And in corporate America, they kind of stamped that down, I feel. Right?
Yes.
Especially in sales. You know, from when you did it, it's like, oh, your goal is 100 units of whatever, and you do 120. So you get paid a little bit of a bonus more. And the next time it's 300.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I was with GlaxoSmithKline and Sanofi as well. Plavix was one of my drugs.
Plavix.
But it was so monotonous. Like when I first got in, the benefits were great: cars, health insurance, retirement, the bonuses. The pay was really good, and the hours were flexible. I learned early on to like focus on the top 20% of my doctors. So the bottom 80% I wouldn't even call on. So when I was in New York, I would go, my territories from 60th to 80th, from Fifth Avenue over to York. And I'd go 61, 62, drop off my drugs in the storage unit, and I'd be done in like 2 hours. But I'd only call on the top doctors, because I realized that those are the doctors that are writing your prescriptions. But it was so monotonous. Every day you're going in with the same message, and you felt like you were like a little pea ant. In my job, right, you might have been a little different in biotech and a specialty, but for the pharmaceutical, and I love those guys to death. I still have a lot of friends in there, and it's a great job if you like it. I think you got to find your passion in life, and that was not my passion.
Right. Well, it's also so regulated, and it should be, right? What you can say and what you can't say. But it was kind of dumbed down, you know, because this is the message, this is how you're going to deliver it, this is the sales pitch, and so on. So this being able to transfer then to real estate, I thought, like, start my own career. I have control over it. I'm not stuck typically with a client I don't like, which you can happen in biotech, right? Here, if we don't gel, then we don't have to work together. But I wanted destiny, what I wanted to do. And I also had this ability to, like, in terms of design and getting the houses ready and vision, I think that's a strength for me. So it made sense.
So, but why real estate? So you were in pharmaceuticals, and then like, what was the aha moment? I'm going to switch gears and go into real estate.
Again, I saw a lot of people doing it, and I'm like, my God, they're not working that hard. You know what I mean? And it
Classic,
wasn't,
right?
Yeah. And for me, that's not me. I work like a hound dog. I mean, I'm like crazy, right? And so it's not how little can I work, but I want to be rewarded for what I do. And I also want to be able to have some control and have some interesting things. And I mean, I've met the greatest people doing real estate, have friends, a good book of business, both collegially, like you guys, and my clients. And so it's been a great success. And it's also, you know, growing up very poor and then teaching for a while. And even in biotech, I did well, but I didn't make that kind of money. It's actually changed my life, where I'm now the caretaker for people, and I'm the one who's able to give gifts, you know, and care for.
So when you first started in the business, how were you finding your clients? How were you, getting people to trust you because you were just starting out in the business? What were you bringing to the table? How did you do it?
So I think the key to,
by the way, when was this? What era?
This was like in 2006.
Okay.
Right before the crash.
Right, yes.
Right. So I like got in, wouldn't that be great? And then let's have a crash. I believe it's the same then as it is today, and it's about knowledge. You got to be knowledgeable. You got to be informed. You have to know your stuff. You have to be honest and forthright, and you have to be direct. And I think a problem that a lot of agents get themselves in today is they blow too much smoke, right? It's like agents tell buyers, sellers what they want to hear and not the truth, right? And that's why we go and show something and it's priced way too high, or you know what I mean? Or it's like, oh no, don't worry, that wallpaper's fine, or that paint's fine, and then it doesn't sell because of that, right? So being honest, being informed, knowing the market, and then starting out, I was pounding the pavement, going to the office every single day, listening, learning, going to your sphere of influence, and open houses. And it always kills me when people say open houses don't sell houses, and I totally disagree. Because you have people
but I've seen you at a lot of open houses. You're always out there. It could be like 100 degrees out. You're setting up all the signs. You always do it the same way. I mean, that takes a level of commitment, because there's some days where you don't want to. I mean, absolutely, right?
Right.
Like, especially you want to go all the way down the block to put up a sign at like 14th Street or something, but you're always out there doing that.
Right. That's 100% true, because if you think about it, you spend so much money on postcards, you spend so much money on digital, you spend money, 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 money. And there is I would do 3-hour opens, right? There's a 3-hour window where people who are clients are coming in to see you in your product.
Right.
And you're an idiot to not take advantage of that, right? And you have a little sandwich sign that you can put, like, I will do it 4, 5, 6 blocks away. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, where they're going down M Street, or they're coming up Connecticut Avenue, or they're going to be coming this, like, how can I get them funneled in to see me, and let's have a date?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think that's so important. And oh, by the way, that's free. So even if you like 14th Street, if I'm at 14th and NS on a Sunday brunch, and there's 5,000 people that walk by, and there's like, oh my God, Daryl Judy's so busy, he's selling everything. I didn't sell a single thing, maybe, but that sign that was free. Yes, it's like a pain to do it. Do I want? No, it gets tiring, but I think it's important.
Yeah.
And being knowledgeable about the house and all the things, but the market too, right? I don't sit down and text or play games in my open house. I'm like meeting people and engaging, and where you're from and what's going on and what are you looking for? And this, have you seen this? Have you seen that house? Have you seen this sale? So you want to be knowledgeable. And I think that I've done well with that.
I think you're one of the best open house
Definitely.
hosters that I know in the industry. Can you tell us a little bit more about like your secret sauce in that regard, as far as like how many signs are you putting out? I know, because we're getting clients that go through your open house, and you have a phenomenal follow-up email that goes out to everyone. Like, how are you capturing, what are you saying to the consumer that comes in off the street to get all these people to sign in?
And to piggyback on that, this is one of my like mini failings in my business, is getting people to sign in. I've never been really good at that. I remember shadowing an agent one day in McLean. I just wanted to see how she did an open house, because I knew she was really good at it. And she just had this natural way of getting people to sign in that seemed so like non-obtrusive and not like needy. Go ahead, you talk about it.
It's such a minor thing, but it's uncomfortable, right? Like, I want you to sign in. I want you to give me your name, and if you're gonna lie to me, you're gonna lie to me. Like, I can't control that, right? I would say in the past 2 years, 3 years, it's been easier because of COVID.
Right.
And so I'm like, I need you to put in your name and your email and time that you're here. Because if someone comes in, I want to be able to go back and talk to them and say, listen, I don't know if you were there at the same time, but there was someone who was exposed or someone who was sick. So that's changed things a bit. But I represent my seller, and they're in their home, right? And so to think that you can just come in the house and be like, well, you don't need to know who I am. No. If you're in their home, this is what you need to do, right? And I don't give them the information. I don't lay things out and have them just come up and grab things until they sign in, right? Only one time, maybe once, there might have been some, I didn't realize at the time. And then when this person left, I was like, oh my God, that was a Supreme Court justice.
Oh, wow.
And I was on this individual, like, and they were like,
please
no,
sign
no.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, we prefer not to. I was like, oh, got it.
But I like that. I like the idea of like just withholding the floor plans, withholding, like, you want this package?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get what you want, so I get what I want. Right. And so I need to be able to tell, this is who was here, this is what's going on. And I have a responsibility to follow up with them as well. So I try to follow up, send them an email. Here's the virtual tour. Here are the floor plans. Oh, there's an offer deadline. We're looking at offers on Tuesday, whatever it is.
You got the information. You got to use it.
Right. Right.
So do you have so what are they signing in on? Is it a sheet?
Just
card?
a sheet.
Just a sheet.
Yeah.
Has everybody's name. You can see Billy
No,
Bob sign.
it's one at a time.
One at a time.
Yeah, it's one. And plus, also with COVID, it's one at a time.
Right.
And I know that there's programs that you can sign in electronically. I think people are suspicious of that, and so I'm just more old school. And then I try to take notes on them too. I just say, this couple lives in the neighborhood. They're renting now, or really, like, I'll say he's tall, she's got long hair, so I remember,
right?
Because I'm a visual person. So,
Brent, how does your team do sign-ins at open house? Do you use a sheet or using QR
We
codes?
use a sheet. So I use a sheet, and I think it has everybody's name on it. So I usually sign like the first two or fake names, so they don't feel like they're the first one to sign in.
Mm-hmm.
Some people use the electronic sign-in sheet. Some people use like the one-off cards where you get the card, they sign on, flip it over on the back, and do notes like Daryl just mentioned.
Right. We started using a QR code just so people could just sign in on our like Google Forms on their phone. And again, it's really more about like getting people to do it, right? Because their first inclination is, I don't want to sign in and give my information away. So,
right.
Yeah.
So what is the package that you have? Like, so they come in, they sign in, and then what package? What's all in that information that you're giving the consumer?
So I give, so there's, whether it's floor plans or the brochure or whatever, I think the brochure is like, it's like selling real estate in 1978. Like, who needs a brochure today? I think
Right.
it's crazy, right? And so I think that's a waste of money. I'd rather spend money on a video where someone's actually going to see and obtain information. But the one thing that I do that's kind of the secret sauce is I give market data.
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm selling this condo. I'm selling this house with a pool. I'm selling. So I give data to show these are other things that are for sale that are kind of in this range, or this is what has sold. So it gives you an idea. So you're informed, right?
Sure.
I would say many, many more people now come in with agents than they did before. Right.
Right.
And so I don't really pick many people up, but it gets good information to support the value of the home that I'm selling.
That's a good segue. My next question was going to be, can you quantify, because you are so successful at open houses, like 10% of your business or 20% of your business comes from open houses, whether it's a buyer or a seller?
I would have to track. I would say it's maybe like 10%. It's not a lot. No,
Right.
it was much more before. And now there's so many agents in the field. I think like you can't swing a dead cat and not know somebody who's got an agent friend or 20. Right. And so I don't pick up as many from opens as I used to. It's really more a referral basis. And people are like, oh, I know he sold this or he represented my friend, and getting it that way.
Yeah, my take on it is, like, I don't want to pick up a buyer, like a cold lead. Like, I don't think I'm great with a cold lead coming through at an open house. But for me, it's a way to audition for other neighbors coming through. Like, this guy knows his stuff. He has a great package. He's very sharp. So I'm hoping that they call me back. And then we're doing like just listed flyers, other open houses. They're going to call me down the road selling their house. So it's just a way to stay in front of those people on a regular basis.
Our guest today is Daryl Judy with Washington Pine Properties. Daryl, you were talking a little bit about working with clients, like if you feel like if you're not going to gel with them, that you wouldn't work with them. But what about the conversations when you have to be honest with someone? You walk into their house, like a townhouse in Georgetown or Logan Circle, and the decor isn't like it's not going to make for good photos. You know it's not going to make for a good presentation, and they're really into their stuff. Like, how do you have that conversation with the seller?
I wish there was a secret. The one thing is, listen, I'm not giving you my opinion, right? I'm just giving you information because how you sell a home is different than how you live in a home. And we want to open up this home to as many people as possible. We want to neutralize it. Or I would say we kind of want to dumb it down, right? Because I love those rugs that you have, and I love the color of that dining room, and that chandelier is amazing, in my opinion. But generally, that's not what the public, the buyers, are looking for. And so we want to reduce it to bring as many people of your taste, reduce that taste to bring as many buyers in as possible. And if we don't do that, we're probably going to sell for less money, right? So we're going to find you a new home that you can put all those beautiful things in, but we need to change it to bring more buyers in to get you a higher number, right? And it's really about ripping the Band-Aid off.
Mm-hmm.
You're either a buyer, or you're either a seller, or you're not a seller. You're not both. I want to sell my house. If you want to sell your house, then we have to get rid of the red dining room. No,
Yeah.
I don't want to get rid of it. Then you're not a seller.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get serious about doing the things that it takes to really sell a house in the
Right.
market. Yeah.
I don't know what your experience is. I think for me, it's much easier today than it used to be. I remember going back like however many years and being like, oh, we need a stage. I'm like, stage? What staging?
Right.
We need to paint. I'm not. Wouldn't you say now it's changed?
Everybody seems
Everyone
to know
understands
the
it.
game.
They understand it. We always, when we feel like there might be a resistance point there, we make it really clear that our first introduction to 99.9% of all the buyers is going to be in the photographs. So if they're looking at something cluttered, dark, painted, weird, like we have a listing right now where, the sellers, they love the color blue. So all of the walls are this kind of baby blue. When you're in the house, it's actually a little appealing, but on photos, it's very blue. So it's not selling.
Yeah. No, I tell them it's like it's kind of like people who date on the internet, right? You get swipe left or swipe right, whatever that is, and you get one chance to make a first impression. And how are you gonna make that impression? Because when someone's like, well, you're not getting showings, no one's seeing the house. No, they have seen the house. They've already said no to you.
Mm-hmm.
They've said no. They haven't got through the threshold because based on your photos or location or whatever it is, they've already said no.
Mm-hmm.
So they are saying no to you. This is not in 2022, we're not, how many people can we get into the open house and let's throw a party and let's get more people in. No, they don't have time. They're swiping.
Right. They want to be engaged online. They're looking at Zillow in the middle of the night. They want to see gorgeous photos, and yeah, with the super dark colors and the weird stuff, it's only going to be an anomaly. You're going to end up on Zillow gone wild.
Right. Yeah. Real estate porn is real. Right?
Yes.
People spend a lot of time on it.
It has been for the last 2 years. That's why the market's been crazy. There was a Saturday Night Live skit on that too, on Zillow.
Yeah.
For our book of business, it seems like, to your point, Daryl, I think half of our listings, we're able to convince them to move out, whether they go to an apartment, short-term housing, or they've bought their house and moved into it. And then it's easier for us to come behind them and work behind the scenes, whether it's cleaning, painting, landscaping, staging, light handyman stuff, all of that. It's easier. Sometimes it can be challenging if they're living in a home and they have their mind set up that I love this color purple. I love purple. And sometimes that can be challenging if they're a strong mindset. So what do you do with that person? It's just like they're not going to change just black kitchen.
Well, I mean, you can only do what you can do, right? And so you also want to talk about the pricing as well. Like, here is the price where I think the value is of the home. If we don't do it, then it might change. Either, when we do like paintings or cabinets or hardware or light staging, we're doing things to make it look as good as possible to get a higher number. So you want to make sure that what you're spending makes sense on the outcome.
Right.
And maybe it does, if you have a black bathroom that's got the black toilet, right? Maybe they're not going to get the money back on replacing that, and that's okay.
Right.
But the price has to reflect that that someone's going to have to come in and want to redo the black bathroom.
Sure. So you recently kind of revamped your social media, and so this is sort of like a part two. So that's like you're at a listing appointment, or you're at a second meeting with a seller to talk about what to do to get their house ready. In one of your recent posts on Instagram, you're talking about the commission thing, negotiating the commission, because it's still an extremely competitive market to try to get listings. It's still a very low inventory market. Lots of discounted commissions. We always got Redfin in the market. We've got, you might be competing with 3 or 4 other agents on a listing. What do you say, just like you on the Instagram, what are you telling your sellers to try to maintain like the commission rate that your company wants to charge?
So I think you have to know your value, and I'm not a discount agent, and I don't think either of you are, right? And so I've seen over and over again people getting their discounted commissions out, right? Or we're going to do this, and we're going to pay for staging, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. And I just think nothing's for free, right? Nothing's for free. Like, someone came to me with another firm, and they're like, we want to get out of this situation. Well, the other firm had paid for their staging, had paid for the paint, and was going to put a lien on the property if you cancel the listing, right? That's not a situation I put myself in. All of my contractors and stuff, I have no relationship to anybody. So I'm using people because they're actually going to do a great job for you and to get it as good as possible. That's part of the reason that you're using me. My experience, my access, my eye, all the things are going to get you a higher number. And if it's naive to think you have real estate agent A bringing a buyer, and real estate agent A is going to be more inspired to sell a house with a bigger commission. We want our buyers to get what they want, right? But it is a factor in how hard you push. It just is, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't want to disincentivize anyone bringing a buyer to your home, right? And you want to make sure that you're delivering, and you can actually show the numbers and say, here's a discount agent, here's their average sales price, here's our average sales price.
Interesting.
That's
right?
Yeah, you can go pretty granular with that. Like, in terms of like, here's someone who charged this commission and how they did with their listing, and you could pull all the data from that to see if you can correlate.
Right?
There's all kinds of information there.
Yeah, for like Michael Rankin's your boss, right? He's one of your owners. He's the 3%, right? It's 3%. He is one of the best agents in all of DC. He's great.
In the country.
Right. So, but he sticks with it, right? Whether it's Dan Taylor Bubas or whoever, the top agents are able to do it. Daniel Hyder, he does a full commission. He rocks and rolls, right? If you can't negotiate your own commission, how can you negotiate against someone who's bringing a buyer, right? You want to be strong and know your value. And it's also a business, right? You want to handle it in a very thoughtful, meaningful way. And I know that sometimes I lose things because I don't pay for staging. I'm not a stager. I'm not going to take that responsibility. I'm not going to do it. Like I have someone who wants me to do it for one person. Like I'm not doing it. It's not worth my time.
Okay, so fine. So you're clearly very good at getting the commission you want, or sometimes it's not worth taking the business. We all agree on that, because this could be you could be foreshadowing the rest of the listing with this person.
For sure.
There's demanding, they want a cheaper commission. They want you to pay for all this stuff, and if you bend over and say like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Where is that really leading you with this whole operation?
Right.
But have you ever had situations with friends or family? We always like to work with the people we know. We always get, I mean, I feel personally hurt if a friend doesn't use me. I know everyone has their people that they've worked with and met out here. And I mean, it's a big city. And we've got plenty of agents out here. I think what's the stat? Like everyone knows at least 8 or 9 real estate at least. But so how would you deal with that if you're like, I'm still Daryl Judy, I'm charging this amount, and someone close to you says, well, another agent over here is doing this for me. What do you say to that?
So it's painful. I, like you, I want everyone to use me, all my friends and past clients. And I can't get over that. It's like a stab in the stomach, right? When someone doesn't use you. But how do I describe it? Hey, Brent, I'm going to sell your house and you're going to be charged this commission. And oh, by the way, I'm not going to charge you the same amount. And you're friends with him. And then they were like, well, how come you gave them that commission? You didn't give me this commission. And I think being consistent in it is just a good business practice.
Fair enough. So consistency makes sense.
Right. And have I lost things because of commission? For sure. Absolutely. And like you said, Max, it's a foreshadowing. If this is how we're starting out a relationship, and you can feel it, like you can feel the ground tremble on the first meeting and the second meeting, it's going to shake like an earthquake by the time we're done. You can just feel it coming a lot of times, right? And so sometimes it's maybe better to not. And in the past several months especially, right? It's been the Wild West. Everyone's selling homes. There's 20 offers, 30 offers. That's changing. And I believe there's a flight to quality, right? I'm thrilled for people like you guys. You're going to have more business this year than you did last year, is my prediction. Because there's a flight to quality. People want to know, Max sold this. I saw Max thing on TikTok. Max has represented my neighbor. Max had the highest price in Observatory Circle. Max, I'm going to use Max because I can't just get away with someone who's a discount person, who's been in an industry for 6 months or a year because they sat at home during COVID and realized, hey, wouldn't this be fun?
Right.
I can sell real estate.
Yeah, I mean, that's typically what happens when we see a market shift. We've seen it before. Unfortunately for a lot of people who are newly employed or thinking they were newly employed with this booming market, it goes away very quickly.
Right. And you've seen that with some big companies who are laying people off and starting things. Yeah. So it's about being consistent, doing the right things, having a business, having relationships. That's what separates you guys apart from the rest of the people who aren't really that good, is because you run a business and you have knowledge.
So I was listening to an interview on another podcast that we really enjoy, Real Estate Rockstars, and they were talking about, I think all of us are in the category of we've worked in enough deals, we've done enough business over the years where we certainly don't need another deal, right? It's nice to keep the money rolling in, and I enjoy doing my business. I'm sure you do too. But there's also a place where you're coming from where like, I don't need this. So I'm doing this because A, this is what I do. This is my job and I can do it really well, as you can clearly see. And B, I'm not coming from a place of extreme need or scarcity, right? So that's also a powerful position to be in. And that's what we see when the market shifts. That's why you see people who are, unfortunately they don't have that book of business and they don't have the comfort level to make it all happen the same way. So,
well, I think also on that point, Max, that because Daryl and I came in the industry about the same time when the market was going through the roof, and then the bottom fell out in the financial crisis, and you saw appraisers, title companies, firms, agents all leave the business. And whether you have financial means or not, I think being able to give your clients sound advice because it's the right thing to do versus I need a paycheck because I haven't eaten in a couple of days goes a long way, because you're doing the right thing for the client, not because you want something to close. And there's a lot of agents out there that live paycheck to paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I still think, going back to being honest with your clients, like I'll be honest with you. I may not be the highest price of a listing of what I'm suggesting, but I'm going to be honest with you, right? But I've seen, especially the past couple months, where it's been bonkers, right? 200, 300, 400, $1 million over ask.
Yes.
And when I hear someone say, "Oh my God, my agent did such a great job. We got it done in 4 hours and we went 100,000 over," and I'm like, "You're an idiot. If you would have let people in, let the other agents, cooperated with all the other firms, dealt with each other, let your buyers in, they have jobs, let them go see it, let everyone go on Tuesday, let people have pre-inspections, it wouldn't have been 100, have been 400 or 500,000 over, right?" And so the past couple months, you've seen agents who aren't like you experienced, who've been shady and doing things because they don't understand the repercussions of doing that in the industry, right?
Right.
And so you have to work well with your peers as well to represent and make sure that you're getting the highest number.
Yes.
So we were talking about, on the Instagram, you were talking about how you do the commission conversation. And so I was going through your Instagram. So now you sort of revamped your social media. You're kind of are you doing an like off camera kind of thing, or is it sort of face on? It's like a combination of both, almost like an interview style.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come up with that? And it seems to be a departure from, I don't know a lot of other agents that are quite doing that in DC right now.
So again, I think I have some beautiful houses that I saw, right? But they can get that on any third-party platform. They can get on my website or Redfin or Zillow or whoever. People want information. They want knowledge. They want to see behind the scenes. And to me, that's what I have to offer. That's what separates me apart from a lot of people, is that I'm a little longer in the tooth. I've been doing this a long time. And I realized at this point in my life, I have things to share, right? And so there's not a formula. I don't say, look, don't look. I don't have that formula. I shoot a couple times a month and I have notes. And on my phone right now, if I pick my phone, I'm like, cover the topic of Zillow selling your data. Cover this. It's like, as I'm going through my life every day, I think, oh my God, this just happened and we had HVA system breakdown. How would I tell other people how to deal with that, right?
Sure.
So it's just notes through, but I want to be an informational source and be seen as someone who's an expert and also be authentic. Like I'm not the person who's going around with the champagne chinging and the car. Like that's not who I am. I'm not that person. So I think you have to be authentic to who you are, and that's who I am, kind of boring and, just giving information.
So on that same line of thought, how do the videos play out? I mean, do you have like someone videotaping you? Do you have a script?
No script. No, I just have someone videotaping me. And sometimes I think they look at me and they're like, oh my God, you are schizophrenic, right? It's like, what are you? But it's come together well. And I don't have a script. Like, it's bad. Like, you talked about the commission thing. Like, we were like, the day we did that, this is nuts. I did 127 videos in like a 3-hour period. And he was just like, can I negotiate your commission? What's your best value? It was like, bam, like
a lightning round video.
It was lightning round. I was like buzzers, right? And so that just came off. Everything that I say comes off the top of my head. I don't have a script. I don't have a team that writes for me. It's just, what am I seeing? What am I telling my clients? Like,
That's
real?
A very interesting way to do that. Like technically, to just knock it all out like that and then edit it, see what you get from that, rather than redoing it and scripting it. It goes a lot faster that way, because I do a lot of the stuff on TikTok when I'm face up. If I'm responding to a comment on TikTok, or I just decide there's a topic that I want to talk about, usually it's off the cuff. Sometimes I script a little bit, but when I do it off the cuff, it feels better. It goes by quicker. I can always edit things. So that's a great idea.
Right, because you guys have knowledge and people want to hear from you. They can go and look at pictures and the videos. We do some of that, but really it's what sets you apart and what is your business.
Have you gotten any business from that, as far as a buyer or a seller reaching out to you because you were so great in your videos?
It's interesting. Like, I think one thing is when you spend all this time, effort, money, right? Mental power on it, you want to be liked and have that affirmation, and you have to let go of that.
Right.
What I have known is, yes, I get people that like it. Like yesterday I did one, and there was like 10,000 views.
Wow.
Well, that's great. But did that do anything? I don't know. Right. But what I do know is if I am coming out of church or if I'm coming out of dinner or I see someone at a cocktail party, they're like, oh my God, I love this, or I saw this or this or that. So it's people engaged. If you're getting your validation on someone putting a heart, that's not the way to do it, right? Because there's secret people like that have secret names that don't
Right.
want you to know they're watching, right? And so I don't know. I think it's a validation. It's like you said about the open house. When you do an open house, you're also doing it because people are coming in to interview you. It's just someone I want to represent me. And I think the same thing happens here. I follow you on LinkedIn or I saw this and I get the listing. I just can't correlate.
Right. It's a piece of the pie as
Yeah.
far as like they're getting your brochures, they see the open house, they see your
It's a campaign.
Instagram account. So it's just a piece of the pie.
Right. I don't know. I mean, obviously you guys are doing a lot of videos. I see them and spending a lot of time, effort, money, right? That's a portion, right? But you have to do open houses. You have to network with other other agents. You have to do open houses. You have to send handwritten notes. I mean, you have to do the whole package. And I think a lot of times we talked about like what is successful. It's doing all the things, doing the client events and doing the parties. The videos are just one more thing that have come into play.
Are you on TikTok?
Ish.
Yes. I mean, so Max, you might know the answer to this. Can you not like take that video that you're doing and just parlay it over to TikTok?
I think you could. Those would go fine.
Well,
on
I
TikTok.
have, but like it hasn't kicked for me. So I'm not the person to know digital and marketing,
Right.
media. I'm not sure how the TikTok works or how the Instagram. So we're pulling it together and seeing. Yeah, I'm trying.
So what's a typical day in the life of Daryl Judy?
Typical day is I hurt my leg, but I used to get up and do the gym right away.
So okay, yeah. When I walked in, I saw the boot. So you hurt your leg playing tennis?
Playing tennis.
Ankle?
No. I tore some calf muscles.
Oh man.
I heard a pop when I was playing,
Ooh. Oh.
and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But it's fine. I'll be in therapy a bit and it's good. It's not Achilles.
Yeah.
That was freaking me out.
Yeah.
That
That's
was
freaking
scary,
out.
man.
Right. That was bad. So I'm an early riser. I get up, I make my coffee, do my thing. I'm in the office early. I happen to live above my office, which is easy and to get rid of commute time. I'm in the office usually by 8 a.m. every morning. Right. And I'm there till 5, 6. And I think that's a big part of it. But we have company meetings. I have a team I work with. Every day is a little different though. Every day is different. Like I had a coaching seminar this morning. I was out on the sidewalk being coached. I have this today. I have tour this afternoon. I have an event tonight. So it just kind of, I'm not very good at blocking. I do this for so many hours. I do that for so many hours.
Yeah. Every day is very different in our business. My thing is I'm in the car so much lately, and I just feel like I can't get anything done. I'm really thankful that I have our team that handles all of the contracts, all of the listing stuff, all of the MLS stuff, because I used to do all of that myself, and I'm in the car so much now, I can't even stop to text. It's just ridiculous.
Right. You're too expensive to do that, right? Your time is better spent caring for a client. That's what you should be doing. And so like, as we're doing this now, I have this assistant email who is a rock star. I love her to death. And so she's putting through a counteroffer on a contract, right? A great contract. So I don't have to worry about that because I surround myself by good people.
Yeah. So how many people are on your team currently?
Right now, there's 3 of us. So we have an assistant email, and we have Danny Boytel, who's joined. He's been a rock star. He had his license before and did a lot of rentals, but realized he just wasn't making the money. And so he came. He's been here like 9 months, I think. Really smart, very likable, knowledgeable, and his average sales price is higher than mine.
Oh wow.
His average sales price is 2.2. I mean, I'm like, oh,
How'd that
God.
happen?
You know how it happened? Like, a couple things. Like, and that's why I said about doing all the bits and pieces, right? So he joined the firm. I'm like, you got to get yourself out of that role and into the role of the professional. You got to. So we're sending out announcements. He's like, it's kind of cheesy. I'm like, send it out. He's like, I don't want to. It just seems. I'm like, the only money I want you to spend are stamps. I want you to spend stamps and let everyone know you're doing it. Well, he sent one out, and got a $2.7 million listing off of a friend's father, right? And it was like, I like you, I want you to do it, but I know who you're working with in this firm. And if it was just other firms, maybe, I wouldn't have done it, but she's like, I'm going to have you do it. Success, right? He did another one, postcard. The friend sold it. And I'm like, so you did a great job there, but how are you propelling that sale into more sales?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? Well, who are the brothers? Who are the sisters? Who do they go to school with? How did you, right? Because then he did that. He got a $2.2 million sale, and he closed yesterday in something that was 1.5 or 1.6. So connecting the pieces and letting other people know your success and the trust and the confidence and the sphere of influence.
Yeah, essential sphere of influence, and just notifying, basically.
Yeah. I don't want a big, massive team. I don't understand the people that have 30 and 40 people.
Those are like small firms.
Yeah, it's a small firm.
Yeah, like the Rabin and Brent group.
We're
they're
all
getting they're getting a little big over there.
We're keeping it. I think we have 11 now. That's kind of like 10 is our threshold. So, the dirty details of your group. So the gentleman you just mentioned, a couple of listings, does that go under his MLS ID or yours?
His. Yeah, I'm not him. So okay. The other thing too is I don't like, and what everyone does and works for them, their business is good. For me, I want him to be successful. I want to change his life. I want him to make a lot of money. And I want him to get credit for what he's doing.
Right.
So he comes in and he sells it. It's his name.
Right.
If he sells more than I do this year, good for him.
That's legit.
Yeah.
We're in the same boat. So, I mean, there are teams out there in groups that will keep everything under like one MLS ID, which I think is a little shady. But it works for them. But for us, it's like if we want them to have street cred, because what's going to happen is they're going to be a buyer agent going up against a heavy hitter. And the first thing they're going to do is probably look at Home Snap or their MLS tag and see they've done 0 deals. So it's going to put them in a backseat position if they're in a multiple offer situation with a heavy hitter.
Well, I can see it both ways. I think what you're doing is fantastic. I mean, that's basically how I've worked with Jonathan Taylor for many years. He's always been extremely generous about that. When we share deals or buy my own deals, it's like it's in my name, but we work together.
Right. You have a camaraderie.
Exactly. But I also see it on the team side too. It's like, okay, if we're going to put all of this marketing and focus and do it on the team model, then the team is the branding. The team is where we have the power, so to speak. And these two types of, different techniques work on different types of clients. Some clients want to work with an individual agent who might be on a small group. And some people want like the power of like, oh, we've got 11 people working for us and they're spread out all over the place. This is awesome. So either way, the team thing is extremely popular right now, but it is like running a small company.
It's like running a small company. Yes.
Yeah.
Management. And we're actually having our mid-year reviews coming up in the next 2 weeks. So making sure everybody's on track with their numbers and what can we do better as team leads, things like that.
But you're good at that. I mean, you're adding a layer of other work to the business, but it's about growth and it's about you're bringing along like this other group of people, newer agents, and they need that. They need that teamwork. So it's good. Kudos.
Thank you.
Good job.
Daryl, this is great stuff. You've imparted great knowledge and experience. We thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Brent's got rapid fire questions for you.
Rapid fire. 5 easy questions. What is your guilty pleasure outside of real estate?
My guilty pleasure? I'd like to say tennis if I was able to play.
You'll be back. I mean, it's just, here's what I say. It's shorter than you think it's going to be to get better, but it's also longer than you want it to be.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right. No. So a guilty pleasure. Honestly, I'm just not guilty. I feel like the guilt I have is I want to be here all the time doing all the work. But a guilty pleasure is getting away with friends and family and really digging in, spending time together and really doing that. And on a smaller note, a guilty pleasure, like after going in the office at 8 and, working till 8, 9, 10, from like 9 to 11, I just want to watch trash TV. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to read. I want to see some trash or something on Netflix and not talk. I don't want to talk. I don't want to engage. I just want to be left alone.
What about when you're watching your trash TV and you're finally like, you're turning into a vegetable on your couch and you see that call come in?
I stop. I stop. I'm like, I have to go back, and this is terrible. I have to go back and rewind. I was watching Staircase the other night on Netflix. I had to go back and rewind because then I get caught up in all the things that are going on and realize I just lost 20 minutes of the show, right? And so I would like to stop myself, but in this business, I'm not someone's like, oh, I'll answer my emails tomorrow. I'll respond to you tomorrow. I don't take calls after 8. I mean, that is insane to me, right? And so if someone calls me at 8 o'clock at night, I'm going to get, hi, how can I help, right?
Yeah.
So
I totally agree. So trash TV, do you have a favorite trash show?
I like all of like the trash Bravo stuff, right? Below Deck, I love that. I mean, who doesn't love Housewives of New Jersey and New York? I mean, I love it.
Is
Brent, do you
Teresa
watch
still?
Housewives?
I watched that one because like Teresa and her husband had that
Teresa
issue. Is she in jail? I don't even know.
No, she's out of jail and she's making money and she's got remarried.
Oh wow, Joe Judice, is that his name?
Yeah, her brother has been exiled, I think, to Italy.
Yes.
All right, trash TV.
I was just guessing, and you do know it. Look at
We watched a lot of TV, so I guess up until like 2017, we watched a lot of trash TV, the Bravo shows. I'm a huge Kardashian fan, but then we got rid of TV for like 3 years because of that. It's like I would just be in there watching like trash.
It's different now because now you can watch. You have HBO Plus, you have Netflix, and you have
so much.
Right.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Oh, Yellowstone. I mean,
Yellowstone. I love that.
So that was my
best.
That was my COVID.
Yeah.
Don't think I don't own Wranglers, right? And like I was like, oh my god, I loved.
That is the best.
I can't wait till the next.
That guy Taylor Sheridan is hilarious though when he shows up on the horse, like Jimmy. He does the whole thing, spinning the horses, just like making himself look awesome. It's like his show.
Right.
I love that.
And Beth, like I've so many times I want to have Beth Dutton. I want to have those moments and go in and wreck that store.
Yeah.
I have to hold back, but I want to do it.
Yeah.
So Max is going to write a movie just for you.
Yeah, it's a script.
The script. So who's going to play you in this movie?
Oh my god. Not based on. Well, is it based on looks or who I think's gonna?
I don't know.
Whatever.
How would you do it?
I wish I had the physique and the look of Jack Gyllenhaal. Right? Is it Jack Gyllenhaal?
Jake.
I'm sorry, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, you don't know his name, but we know who he is.
Right.
I was trying to think, like, is he got a brother?
Yeah, Jack.
No, Jake and his sister, right? So Jake,
Maggie, right?
Yeah, I mean, talking about
Jake's awesome.
Yeah, like a good spirit, aging well, masculine, attractive. I mean, who doesn't want to see themselves looking great?
Yeah, but Hollywood aging is different. I mean,
well,
we need the Hollywood surgeons. I'm telling you, like we got to look good too. So
moisturize, steam room.
Yeah,
moisturize every day.
Yeah,
right.
Every day.
Yeah.
No, I just saw and it's interesting too. Like I just saw Elvis last night. It premiered in.
How did you see it?
I have friends who are in the movie industry, and so Susan, a good friend of mine, invited me to this preview. It is. I'm not even an Elvis person. It is unbelievable.
Okay.
You've heard it here, and that kid is going to be up for an Oscar if he doesn't win. Promise you.
I'm there.
Yeah, but looking at Tom Hanks, to allow himself to be, I mean, he looks horrid, right? But he does a great job. So
yeah.
So sometimes Hollywood likes some of the darker.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I was worried it looked a little bit overdone in the previews. So.
Oh my God, is it Baz Luhrmann? I think is who does it, right? Mm-hmm. It is so good, and if you didn't love Elvis before, you will at least respect him and the journey. And it's also, it's a little bit Michael Jackson. It's a little bit like the drugs and how people were controlling them. It's kind of a sad story.
We already have our tickets for Friday at 6:00 at the Alamo Draft House.
I promise you, and it's long. Get a couple beers. Hours, right? It's like it was 3 hours, but there was a bit of in time between, so it's probably like 2:40 or something.
But you're taking your son, right?
Yeah,
how old's your son?
He's 8. So we watched Maverick. Everyone knows this 4 times. And one of the previews is Elvis. So now all he listens to is like Elvis on Google or Alexa. He's doing research on Elvis. So
he's going to go out of his mind. And it's done.
Is it safe for an 8-year-old? I mean, because there's some drugs. It's sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
There's a smidge of
podcast.
There's a smidge of recreational, but not a ton. It's more of,
no spoilers. Sorry, I'm just asking.
No, it's more of his agent who Tom Hanks plays, who basically is like, I don't care what has to happen, he's get on stage tonight. And so they basically, made him perform like Michael Jackson, right? He needs to sleep, put him out. He needs to get up, Let's give him
Wow.
something. So you'll see needles, but so much of it is about the music and how it came and what he was going through. It's unbelievable.
That's
Right on.
awesome. You got to see it. You have a favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot. Someplace I could actually go and get away and not think about work or life or bills. Just so it'd have to be something like, I love going to Greece. I love Greece, right? To go away, because that to me has so many memories. Something like that. I love Buenos Aires, but yeah, I like to go post-COVID. I need to get to my next thing.
Somewhere a little bit further. It sounds
Further. The next place I want to go, once I feel safe about travel, I want to go to Israel.
You have a favorite book?
I have a favorite book. You know, it's so funny. In terms of book, you saw the logo that I did. I have the tree, right?
Yes.
And there's several reasons why I did that. And one of the things is the giving tree. It's a children's book that I used to use when I taught, but it just talks about this tree that keeps giving and giving and giving, and when you can't give more, you give more. And so I'm gonna call it a children's book, Giving Tree.
Last question here. You have a favorite restaurant that you like to go to frequently?
I am such a creature of habit. Like, I should be able to go to like rate, James Beard, and that's 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever. I am so lazy at the end of the day. I like walk 2 blocks to like 17th Street or walk up 14th Street, right? My favorite is like a tequila and fish tacos. So I'll go to maybe Laurel Plaza or but the place that I go probably more than any other place, and it's because it's like my kitchen, is Annie's. Like old school
Wow.
on 17th Street. Yeah.
That is old school.
It
I don't
is
know where
so
that
old
is.
school.
It's on
and you-
17th Annie Steakhouse.
Oh my
That's
God. If you got Mano at night, you got Al in the morning, you got like, it's not fancy, but it's like you go there, they're like, hey, do you want tequila or do you want a dirty martini up, shaken hard? You know what I mean? Like that's, to me, it's a home. It's, I could go anywhere and eat, and it's not even like, it's not like it's cheap, but it's an experience. And that's where if I call 4 or 5 friends, they're like, oh my God, yeah, let's go. Because instantaneously, it's like your living room and you're talking.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's not as much about the food as it's about the experience and the people who are there. It's like life, right?
Yes.
Daryl, thanks for sharing your time with us today.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. We always make a donation to the charity of our guest choice. So do you have any charities you want to shout out?
Oh my God. I actually, the one that I give the most money to is my church, Foundry Methodist. But you can give to whoever you want. Like there's right now, I think the people who need it most are, I have to check and see there's a place that you can help people in Ukraine.
Okay.
I just did a fundraiser with one of my clients, and so I can get you that. Just people who actually really, really need some assistance.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at KeyedInPodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.